I have some unbelievable stuff to talk about in this video, my friends. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We're going to get into a ton of stuff. As usual, we have, of course, what's going on in a number of cities right now as certain types of groups are now taking, of course, over. And it's not just that even, actually. There's way more than that going on. We're seeing, it looks like, honestly, it looks like Fast and Furious, the movie, plus people trying to rob every store, plus add to that marching and just all manner of craziness, all at the same time. I'm not joking, literally. I'll show you a video of it. That's in Philadelphia, and actually it's happening in New York City as well. Actually in numerous cities. And we're going to get into also what's going on with the economy, because it's getting crazy, my friends, with the economy. And I got a lot to show you in that realm as well. And we're going to get into also something that I covered in my other channel, my main channel, that I didn't cover over here. That's pretty big. And it has to do with something that happened in 1972. And it's pretty mind-blowing. This is something I talked about over on my main channel. This man here, Dr. Don, his last name is Crum, is talking about something that happened back in 1972, where our GOV put on a certain project. This is the project they put on. Okay, it's called Stargate. Now, again, I've told you guys in the past, whenever they have these projects and, you know, operations and things like that, they always seemingly name these things literally what they're doing, right? Remember Fishbowl? We're in a fishbowl. We're trying to get out, you know. Because they were like, you know, they were NUKES in the sky, right? Like they're trying to get out of something. Now you have Stargate. Stargate. What does that make you think of? Opening something out, like that movie, Stargate SG-1 or whatever it's called, right? Makes you think of that, right? Well, according to this guy, a number of people that were involved in this thing back in 1972, apparently they did open something. And something that was about 8 or 9 foot tall walked through. And they wanted to have, of course, back then, we're talking 1970s, right? 1970s, what were they dealing with? They were dealing with the Soviet Union. The USA was in a Cold War with the Soviets. Remember that? They recruited mind readers to spy, of course, on the Soviets in the 1970s. This was part of the plan, the Stargate thing, right? Now, here's what happened. According to numerous people that were involved in this, back in 1972, they opened something up. An entity of some sort walked through, 8 or 9 foot tall. They made a deal with this entity. They said, "Give us power, more power than the Soviets." Okay. Talking Cold War time. And he said, in turn, "I want to have rights over, of course, America." This is what the entity said. And they did the deal with it, right? And so let me show you a couple things that happened right after this. So this was in December of 1972. 1 month later, look what was legalized 1 month later. In 1973, January 1973, Roe, Wade happened. In 1973, 1 month later. Now, what's interesting, when did this end? When did this thing end? It ended in 2022. When was the deal made? 1972. Subtract those two numbers, what do you get? 50 years, right? Let me show you something. So it ended in 2022. It started, the deal with the entity started in 1972, even though that thing passed in 1973 in January, right? So that's 50 years. Now, let me show you something. That's not the only thing that happened. There's actually multiple things in the 1972, 1973 range that happened. You had the end of the gold standard for the dollar, Nixon, and the end of the Bretton Woods system, where they took the dollar off the gold standard. That happened in around 1971 and 1973. Okay? Then you had the Saudi petro oil contracts made around 1972 as well. Shortly after this, actually it was in 1973. It was around that time too. Around the exact same time this happened. Okay? So Guess what? Guess what ended up happening in 2022? The Saudis ended their deals with us 50 years later. Same exact thing. We're not back on the gold standard yet. That's something. But I wanted to show you this. In Scripture, it talks about a 50-year Jubilee release. 50-year reset in Scripture that involves release of slaves, forgiveness of debts, return of land. So it was given 50 years over, of course, America. And then on the Jubilee year, we were released from it. 2022. See how that works? If this is true, this is what they're saying happened. It makes sense, though. Actually, it fits in perfectly. And interestingly, this is what I covered, I think, in the previous video on this channel. September 16th. This comes back to the whole Daniel thing. Adding the 7-year Daniel cycle. You know, the 7 years of Daniel. If you add that to the date when we had the Revelation 12, of course, sign, we're talking star constellation, September, 23rd in 2017. You add 7 years to it, and you use that Daniel cycle on it, you get these dates. October 31st, which is Halloween. That's when it ends. You have a significant date on September 16th, 45 days before that. Guess what happened on September 16th? Let me show you that now. Who was arrested on September 16th? Now, look, they tell you it's the 17th. It wasn't the 16th. No, actually, it was the 16th. They're actually misdirecting you here. Watch. If you go look up on your calendar, what day is September 17th? It's a Tuesday. Look down here. Sean Diddy Combs was arrested on Monday, September 16th. They arrested him one day early because they knew he would try to run again. That's why they did it on the 16th. So why is this important? Now let's check Clement again. This is in 2014. He says, a very strange thing shall happen in September, moving into the fall, where there shall be a great fall, fall of the enemies, fall of the kings, fall of the princesses. I shall do a strange thing. So let me show you this. Princesses, kings, celebrities, ministers are all tied into this. This is the former bodyguard of P. Diddy. Gene Deal says politicians, princes, and preachers were all at his parties. This guy right here. That directly matches what Clement said right there. Exactly what he says in the video. Now, I was going to play this really quick. This is an example. We're now seeing a number of videos coming out on YouTube and other places showing all these videos of lots of different celebrities. Leonardo DiCaprio, LeBron James, Ellen DeGeneres, however you say her last name, DeGeneres. Okay, let's play this real quick.
Information yet, but who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And I can get on that list,
Yes,
right?
without a doubt, you are.
So he mentions Leonardo DiCaprio. He has LeBron James there rapping at one of his parties. He has Ellen DeGeneres there with, I'm not going to get into it. Justin Bieber seems to be all over the place in these parties. You have this, I don't know if you've seen this or not. These are all oil bottles, man. Why in the world, bro? That's a lot of oil. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't even know if I want to know what they're, of course, using it for. Okay, I'm pretty sure you can guess. So, of course, also you have so many others. You got Jay-Z. All these people. Could this be what Clement is talking about? Could this be what brings them all, of course, down? Diddy. Could he be the one? Because even princes and those in the GOV went there as well. And he has lots of tapes. Lots and lots and lots of them. So it makes you wonder. At any rate, I think you get kind of the idea what I'm getting at. But we got some more stuff to talk about here, my friends. our economy is not doing well. So they waited too long. The Fed, Jerome Powell, they basically cut 50 basis points. They did a rate cut of 50 basis points, but they did it after the evidence of everything being really bad. Because we have layoffs doubled last month. And they should have cut the rates like before this, like a month or two earlier. They didn't do it. So we're pretty much going to be seeing some pretty bad stuff now. We have, of course, let me show you this. Where is that at? I got something pretty big to show you here. Hyper, of course, inflation. Here it is. Let me show you this. This is kind of big. Transition to hyper, of course, inflation has already begun. The Fed's own charts show dollars purchasing power nearing zero. This is according to Lynette here. She might look familiar, the lady on the right. She's on Kitco, of course, here talking about this. And this is because they cut it 50 basis points and they did it too late. Whether or not they did it too late or not, it means the dollar is going to lose a ton of value even faster. The inflation is going to go faster now because they cut rates. They cut rates because nobody can afford anything. Again, as I said literally a year and a half ago, we're between a rock and a hard place. And now we're seeing it play out in real time. They're not able to fix this. There actually is a way to fix this, but they're not going to do it. They could put the dollar back on the gold standard. Perhaps if 45 gets in, maybe he will do it. I hope so. But we're seeing layoffs surge. We have GM laying off 1,700 workers. Let's see if I can get on the screen a little bit better. At a Kansas plant, 2/3 of the workforce. Remember, the UAW is trying to get bigger wages. We saw here, this is what I was talking about, highest point of layoffs in 15 years, where it basically doubled overnight in August. And you even have Nicki Minaj making jokes about this because of her competitor's record label having mass layoffs. Nicki Minaj taunts Atlantic Records executives after mass layoffs announcement. UPS is hiring, of course, referring to the fact she doesn't like Cardi B, and she actually is with Atlantic Records. But you get the point. So you see this also with the car market. Mercedes-Benz is doing terrible, down 11%. Tesla just got rid of 14% of their workers this year alone. It's not looking good, all right? You have credit card defaults at highest levels. I'm just showing you this stuff really quick because this isn't a business channel. But I wanted to cover this stuff because I think it's important. Half of renters live somewhere they can't afford. So half the people out there renting currently can't even afford the place they're in. That's where we're at. All right. And I'm sure you kind of got that impression as well. Wages started slipping and going down while inflation was going up. Clearly, this isn't going to work out too well, right? I mean, it isn't exactly rocket science. You could see, this is actually a big story. I didn't even mention this in the beginning. This is huge. U.S. could lose all bank, of course, branches by 2041. And this is the model we're seeing already in Australia. We've had major banks, 2 major banks in Australia. One of them got rid of pretty much all their branches on one side of the country. You have to drive like 1,500 miles to get to a branch if you're on the other side of the country now. And they used to have branches where they were. They just closed them all. And there's another bank that went completely online. Like no ATMs, no branches, nothing. And it's a major bank. So this could be something they want to do as well. And of course, this comes back to the fact that the dollar is losing value so quickly. It's wise to think about these things, right? I think if we put the dollar back on the gold standard, it would be a very good thing. But since in the meantime, right, what are you going to do? I think a very good idea would be to put your money into gold and silver. Link is in the description. They're having a huge, big fall sale right now on tons of different items on AppMax.com. They're trying to clean house, lowering the prices. You're going to definitely want to go over there. Even some of the top experts are telling you to put your money in bonds and gold right now. And we have Warren Buffett as well, showing in what he's doing. Let me show you this. This is actually important too. Here it is. It took me a minute to find it. Warren Buffett is doing this for the first time in 20 years. Should investors be worried? Yeah, he should be. First time in like 20 plus years, he's hoarding cash. Why? Because he knows that the stock market's going to crash. He already knows it because the yield curve is uninverted. It's just mere science. Every time it's done it in the past, stock market crashed within a few months. He knows the stock market crash is coming in a few months, so he's rearranging and making sure the only stocks he has up are ones that are not going to die or fall during a stock market crash, or not fall that much, and retaining a lot of his currency for when it does crash. Once it crashes, then he's going to buy up everything. You see what I mean? So he's selling off the things that are going to obviously drop, hold the cash, wait for it to drop, buy it again, end up doubling the amount he has in. And this is how he got big. This is the stuff he was doing, while the news is telling you to do the exact opposite of what he's doing. So something to think about. If you have a 401k, you might want to fix it and get it ready for that. Maybe hold on to a bunch of cash on certain items, or put your money into things that are more stable, like he has done in one respect. So you put it into more stable stocks in your 401k, wait it out, maybe have some extra money on hand for when it does crash, and then buy up on the crash. Buy up a bunch of stuff when it's low, right? You have, of course, a number of other stories. I don't want to get into these because I got a lot of stuff open here, but I did want to show this picture, this video. Oh yeah, this is crazy. So this is what I was talking about. Fast and Furious in Philadelphia. All right. Yeah, this is what's going on like 2 nights ago. I think it was like, yeah, 2 nights ago. Let's just play this. Actually, I'll just leave the music. I'll turn off the music. As you can see here, everybody going crazy. You got cops running around. You got like people doing donuts. You got people robbing stores. It literally does look like from a Batman movie, like Joker goes through the city and just like makes everything go crazy, right? Mayhem. It's like the Joker movie that's coming out here soon. And this is happening in numerous cities. It's not just Philadelphia. All right. They're riding around on bikes too, to go to all these stores. I saw like another video of like 100 people on bikes, and they just go up to random stores and just get off their bikes and just take a ton of stuff and run off. Stuff like that going on as well in various cities right now. And just in time. Did I not tell you that they would do this? A little bit different than last time. Last time it was the Black, of course, Lives Matter, right? And they started that early last time, right? I knew they were going to do something like that again. They got to. They just can't. They have to do it, right? So they're doing it. They started it, all right? So it's already happening. Hopefully you're not in one of those cities, or hopefully you're not in one of those areas that this is all happening. And if you are, or whether you are not, you might want to get prepared anyways. You never know what's next, because from what I understand, we've went deep into Ruslan, or the Vladmeister's territory, and we're doing stuff there. And now they're talking like we're going to start having stuff happening here in America as a result of this, which could lead to World WAR, which of course is one of the things they want to have as like a plan E. So if she doesn't win, or she's not looking like she's winning, they got to pull out a number of rabbits out of their hat. We could have another, we could do that. We could have cities with like mostly peaceful stuff going on. Or what else could we do? Let's start a World WR so we can postpone it and not have it. You know what I mean? So, you got to be prepared no matter what it is. Link is in the description. 4 weeks worth for $187. Get 3 months. It's like $560. You can get as many as you want or as few as you want. Link is in the description for that. This book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity. How you may soon as well. Hopefully not. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping he just wins. They pull out their plan A, B, C, D, and E, and F, and G, or whatever, and Vladmeister doesn't fall for it, and we don't fall for it, and he gets in, right? This is kind of what I'm hoping. And then somehow, miraculously, everything turns out good. That's what I'm hoping for. And actually, I think it could be possible, because I'm going to show you some stuff that makes me think that it really is possible. I'm going to show you some stuff in a minute here. But yeah, get this book as well. $37 plus shipping. Get the printed version. And of course, you have all these banks unloading bad debt, mostly commercial real estate. JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America lose $5 billion, offloading it to rotten debt. And we just had Blackstone unload their rotten investment, I guess. And this is kind of amazing because they lost a ton of money off this. They own Motel 6. Blackstone owns Motel 6, and they sold it for $525 million. Guess how much they paid for it? $2 billion. They sold it for a quarter of the price they paid for it. It must be pretty bad right now. When you're selling stuff that you bought for a quarter of the price, you know something ain't right. This is another one I forgot to mention. So remember, I talked about this guy, Dr. Don here, Crumb. He says that in 1972, this thing came through a gate, an entity, and they made a deal with it. And this deal lasted 50 years, right? What else was removed in 2022? We already talked about the Saudi Arabia petro oil contracts being removed, and they started around 1972 or 3. We had Roe and, of course, Wade. That was removed. Exactly 50 years. What else was removed on 2022? How about this? The Guide of Course Stones in Georgia. They were removed in 2022 as well. And the guy who allegedly built them was named Christian. Really? So that shows you how the devil was. He was pretending to be a believer. And that's how it was back then. The 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They're all pretending like they're, I'm a believer too. I go to church. No, they're not. No, this is what I've been saying forever. The devil's in the church and outside the church. And this is why no one could see him. They see the one outside of, there he is right there. He's into all these bad things. He's also the guy that pretends to be good in the church, including your minister, like T.D. Jakes, or the new one, Steve Lawson had just got caught, or just name one. There's like a million of them. Carl Lentz or whoever. The devil puts these people in the church. Why isn't it? This is what I was saying about the devil uses a two-faced system, a two-faced devil. Okay. He has Aphrodite and Artemis, or that's the Greek version. You have Venus and Diana for the Roman version. It's the exact same gods. But that's how the devil plays it. He has two sides for you to choose from. Choose one of the sides, but both of them are wrong. One of them appears to be right. Artemis Diana seems to be the right side. Okay, because it seems like more righteous. It's like about hunting, vegetation, raising a family, good morals, chastity. It sounds good. It sounds like, this is pretty decent, wholesome type of stuff. Yeah, they want you to think that. The guy who built these pretended to be one. That's how they do it. It's just like 2,000 years ago when the King of Kings was walking on the earth. The Pharisees pretended to be righteous. They were hypocrites. This is the other face of the devil no one sees. They always fall for it. They always fall for it, get hoodwinked by it. He said, beware of the scribes and Pharisees. Scribes write the scriptures. They mistranslate. Why? Because the devil don't want you to know what it says. Also, what did he do in Luke 4? He misquotes things. He'll take it out of context. He'll twist it a little bit, mistranslate it, whatever to get his way. You see what I mean? So this is how it works. But at any rate, that's my video. Kind of wonder what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.